Welcome to the American Fork Podcast. I am Jeff. I am the host. I wrote a really funny thing down here. I'm not going to read it, though. So I'm your host today, and I'm here with my friends. Diagonal from me is a guy that you know from every week. Jake. Jake?
Mm-hmm. Yep. All
Jacob?
of those were not correct until the end. Yeah.
Jake.
Yeah.
Your name's Jake, right?
That's Jake. That's Jake, yeah.
We did just meet. Hi, Jake.
Hi, guys.
And then absent again is Phil. So we brought actually probably the better Phil. I think Phil is this. Amber is actually better than Phil.
Better Phil is
Phil
back.
In.
No,
yeah,
I think
hasn't heard this joke yet.
Phil is the Phil is now going to be known as the Amber Inn because you're the best.
That makes me a little emotional. Thanks.
Better word.
We do have a no crying policy.
Okay. So. Just kidding.
Especially if it's due to emotions.
Well, I'm solid in my emotions.
We can only cry from laughter.
That's right. Which is not an emotion.
Okay.
And then our guest this evening is Matt Johnson. You may remember Matt from such episodes as number 60 something or other.
No.
38.
You may remember me from such episodes as 38.
Where we talked about some cool things, and we're going to continue to talk about some cool things because Matt has his degree in Middle Eastern Studies and the Arabic language. And that is somewhat of a hot subject these days.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I heard. So we're going to talk about that when we get to the main topic.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Oh, he's ready.
Exciting.
You're going to have to wait, though.
Ready.
You're going to have to wait.
I'll wait.
Okay, cool. So we'll start off with some American Fork news. And guess what, Jake? I actually found literal news in American Fork.
Holy cow.
That is newsworthy. So I titled this, Why is Everyone's Life So Perfect on Social Media? Which is a pound of sarcasm because we're going to talk about Ruby Franke. The Ruby Franke case. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
That's a Hulu special, isn't it? No?
It probably is.
It will be.
It will be for sure.
So you guys are all familiar with that?
Is it Frankie or Frank?
I don't know.
I thought it was Frankie.
Or Frank?
It's Frank.
Frank.
Ruby Franke.
I don't know a ton about it, but the reason why it came up in American Fork is because they found her 10-year-old daughter at her business partner's house in American Fork. And so it was like big news that the police had to go over there and get her out of the house. And for anyone that doesn't know, I'm going to do a really poor job at summarizing what is going on, and you guys can fill in the blanks. So basically, I've never heard of this lady till she got kind of in trouble, but she was like a mom, like giving advice on raising children because she had 8 kids.
Yeah, she was a YouTuber. She had 6 kids. And so it was like the title something like 8 van. Oh, dang, I'm botching. Mom, yeah.
I'll find it. Yeah, it's like 8 passengers
8
or
passengers.
something like that.
That's a thing.
8
so
passengers
6 kids.
is the YouTube channel.
Yeah. So she had a YouTube channel giving advice on how to raise your children and how to be better than everyone else in your neighborhood or something like that.
Yeah, and there were certain like disciplinary actions that she was taking that was like getting intense. And so her partner is like a therapist.
And they had like a life coach company, right? Like they sold life like
courses.
Yeah, that was part of, I think, of the therapist group that she was with. And so they, I think, co-hosted a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And it just got extreme, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess what kind of sparked this whole thing was, well, I think there's been stuff leading up to it, but Irvins, Utah, or Ivins, Utah?
It's down south, yeah.
Okay.
Irvins.
So she was...
St. George.
Irvines, yeah.
They were arrested down there because one of their kids, who was 12 years old, the kid escaped the house and went to a neighbor's house, and the guy called the cops because there's like obviously duct tape on their arms and this kid's arm, and like the kid was asking for food and water, which is kind of a red flag. And so child abuse charges there, which is, it's actually terrible. It's a really crap story and it's sad.
Mm-hmm. It is sad.
But there's something slightly satisfying when someone has a YouTube channel and their life seems all perfect and they take care of their kids and their lives are awesome. And then you find out, nope, it's a ball of shit.
Yeah, you find out, oh, wait, it's not perfect.
Yeah. Well, especially for it portraying one as like, this is how you raise your kids. This is a good way to mold and discipline your kids, and then it ends up being like a serious case of child abuse.
Yeah, it wasn't how to discipline your kids. They were literally like abusing and manipulating their kids.
Yeah.
And literally withholding food from them and bedding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one kid, the kid said they took his bed away, which, I wouldn't say that alone is the worst thing ever, but when you start stacking some of the stuff up it's not good.
It's a lot.
The police, like this, for example, the police later reported that the boy said their wounds were dressed with cayenne pepper and honey. Isn't that a torture process in some countries?
It's a holistic.
It is holistic medicine.
I was going to say people
Sounds
use
painful.
cayenne pepper as a pain reliever. Actually, not
Really?
a pain reliever, but like
Oh, like an anti-inflammatory.
Yes.
I've heard of that actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I put cayenne pepper on things that I don't want my dog to chew up. So if you don't want the
Similar.
dog to chew wounds,
There you
I
go.
think it will
Cayenne
work
pepper.
out. Yeah. And for a while I thought it was Kanye pepper, but I got corrected on that.
We accept
Kanye
that
West.
pronunciation as well.
Anyway, I don't mean to seem heartless about the abuse part of this child thing, but like it just drives me insane. The social media life where people think that everyone around them is so wonderful and amazing. And then when you really start digging in, you're like, oh, they're just normal.
Yeah.
Or terrible.
Or extremely
this
terrible.
instance,
Yeah.
completely horrible. So anyway, if you're out there and you think that your life is crappy compared to somebody on social media, just know that they might be abusing their children.
Yeah, no, they might be arrested soon, so you don't have to worry about
So
it.
don't worry about it.
Take
Okay.
away.
Off to Utah news. I got 2 stories for Utah. Are you excited about that, Jake?
I'm stoked, actually.
That's good. My first one is, why do Utahns hate people walking so much?
Man.
Those walkers.
Sounds like zombies.
Yeah.
Walking Dead.
It is kind of crazy. And this tweet, what is it called now? This X,
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Do they call them tweets still?
this twat, this tweet, this X.
That's definitely.
What do they call it?
I don't know.
Xer.
I don't know. I'm actually suffered with that dilemma.
Okay.
I think we're still safe to say
Suffered.
tweet though.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll know
Because
what
it-
we're talking about.
Yeah, everyone knows
Everyone
what
knows
it
what we're
means.
talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
They still own Twitter.com, so
Okay,
we'll still call them tweets.
valid. When we have Elon on next week, we'll ask him. So this was tweeted out that said, the public should be alarmed. There have been 663 pedestrian crashes so far this year, and 26 of those have been fatal
And this is just in Utah?
in Utah, which is
Wow.
insane,
Yeah.
proportionately, especially, right?
I guess I don't know what the running total is of people being hit by
know
cars
what
in
the
other
average is.
states.
Yeah. What's the goal?
But yeah, I mean, I like to, 10 points for that person, 50 points for that person. So.
I do daydream about that
Yeah.
when I'm driving. Fantasize about that.
Yeah.
But I
Giving
never
someone a
follow
little
through.
Bump.
Yeah, 20 points if you can leave the shoes. Does that include people who try to beat a UTA tracks train? Because it seems like that happens all the time. People are like, yeah, I'm going to cross these tracks. And they don't end up crossing the tracks alive.
It just says pedestrian accidents, so I'm sure it's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It could
crazy.
be, I don't know,
Deer hit them on the road.
electric bikes running into them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tripping.
I feel like people are more distracted these days. So,
Yeah,
and the population's
dumber.
rising and dumber. Yes, that's
Yeah,
what I was going for.
so a lot of pedestrians are getting hit in Utah.
Exactly. And so I'm trying to do some really hard math with numbers. So
Carry the one.
663 accidents so far this year. And we are on day 293. So how many is that per day, Jake?
Oh, geez. Really? You're going to throw it on me?
Come on,
Is that
Jake.
3 a day?
293, that's about 300 out of 600. And how many?
So yeah, it's like, oh, I did it
That's
backwards.
like 2 a day.
See, math is so hard, guys.
2.3,
That's just over
2.4 a
2
day.
per
Look
day.
at these mathematicians over here.
I play
Yeah.
the piano.
We should call
Okay.
Walter.
So Matt knows.
So
Matt's
Yeah,
a professional.
it's multiples per day,
Mhm.
which is crazy.
That's wild. Yeah.
and 26 deaths. Ugh.
Yeah. Well,
So, but my thing is, and we've grown up in the perfect time frame where it's like we did not have any cell phones at all, no distractions walking around with us in our pockets, to now we're adults and it's 100% distraction time all the time. And I think that contributes to a lot of it. I see people crossing the street all the time staring at their phone and, driving around texting or whatever. And it's like, no wonder the pedestrian accidents are more. So what's the solution, Jake?
No more walking.
I'm curious to know how we rank with other states.
And how it
per capita
and
whatever.
how more it is compared to maybe 10 or 20 years ago as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How what's the trend?
I think it's getting worse. I think that's why this has become a story, but you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the same. The news just makes it sound like it's worse.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Well, now that COVID's gone, they're car deaths instead of COVID deaths or pedestrian deaths, whatever.
Is there a car vaccine coming out soon?
Yeah, it's called Don't Text While Drive.
Yeah, it's called Put Your Phone Down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot. Over 2 per day pedestrians get hit.
Around 2, yeah.
And I don't know if we can blame it all on cars too, because people walk and run and bicycle while texting as well.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
Yeah. The other stat I'd like to see is how many of those were like tandem bikes. Like it was actually one accident where 2 people got hit.
I'm sure at least 30%. So really,
High percentage.
we've got a lot
All
of
of those tandem
statistics
bikes riding around. See them all the time.
Those tandems.
Just saying, I don't know. Or like people, like someone on someone else's shoulders. You know what I mean?
I see that at
Practicing
least
for the
2.4
circus.
times a day.
3 to 4 times.
Circus
a day.
practicers, yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah. All the time. I would say
Regular
like 3 a day.
circus.
Uh-huh.
These numbers are not accurate.
Okay, we got some more research to do. We'll follow up next week.
Yes.
How many circus performers every day get hit by a car?
And if that's the case, then Vegas has got to be terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Super high.
horrible.
Yeah.
Olympics, anyone?
Yes.
This
Please.
is my second Utah story.
There's actually a third one I squeezed in there. We can talk about it if you want.
Oh my
But
gosh, it feels squozed. Okay, so
it's so squeezed.
Squeeze Ed.
I'm kind of excited about this. I mean, you guys remember 2002 Olympics?
Oh yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Kind of
I
a
was
big deal.
9.
You were 9?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
no?
wow.
I was 9 years old.
Oh,
You were
9
German,
years
9?
We were old enough. We were older than that. Right?
We were
How old
seniors.
At least 10 years
Seniors
old.
in high school.
Oh,
yeah,
10 years
we're
older than
18.
me.
Oh yeah.
2002.
2002,
Oh, yeah.
Corey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember
That's
that
true.
one time we graduated high school?
Barely graduated. I mean, I remember it fully, but I barely graduated. Yeah, it was awesome. I remember going downtown with everyone
Yeah.
and hanging
Mhm.
out. And
Well, I remember running through with the torch.
oh yeah,
Someone from our high school carried it.
Tyler Bolter.
Yes, Bolter.
Yeah, he carried the torch.
muscles.
Yeah, muscles.
carried the torch.
Yeah.
I wonder how heavy it was.
He,
Your guys are like, that was the
I'm
dumbest.
sure he didn't have a
question ever."
problem
Heavy,
carrying it.
I'm sure.
He
yeah.
did have muscles.
He did have muscle. Yeah, they called him.
If anyone could do it, it would be him.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
I remember
That's
him.
why they had him do it,
Yeah.
because they're like, this guy's name is Muscles. It's heavy. So
Yeah.
let's have him carry it.
Yeah, that's cool. I forgot about that until now. They went just down the street from the high school, right?
I think they were over by like Hobby Lobby area, wasn't it?
It was Smith's
Did
back
cross
then.
Yeah,
Main
Smith's.
and Main and
Smith's back
State.
then.
Okay, I, even though I was 9, I do remember it.
You were probably on someone's shoulders, avoiding
Possibly.
cars.
Yeah, what?
Probably Mike's shoulders.
Mike, yeah,
Oh, okay.
he's a good big brother. You got to put $1 in the jar, by the way.
He was a great big brother.
Okay, that's good.
So do we put money in the jar when we say
Still
something bad
is.
about Mike, or just bring
I
up
thought it
Mike
was
at all?
something.
I don't know.
I feel like it's something
these
bad. It
rules.
needs to be something bad.
For the listener, Matt is Mike's brother, or Mike is Matt's brother. Matt's Mike's brother.
Both are
who
acceptable.
owns who?
And if you
He
you
came
listen,
first.
if you listen back to the first 20 episodes, Mike is on most of them, and those are probably the best podcast episodes we've had
Rude.
Quit lying, Jake.
because Mike was on them.
Yeah.
Mike was a good. I
So-
remember that
Come
guy.
back, Mike.
So before we started recording, we said anyone that brings up Mike and makes fun of him has to put $1 into the
Mhm.
jar. So we're gonna qualify that as not making fun of him.
Thank you.
Pointing out that you are related is not making fun of him. Okay.
In and of itself, it's not.
Yes. But watch your mouth. Okay.
Watch your filthy mouth.
So there's a story about what we're talking about. So we're in the running for the 2034 Olympics in Utah. And we are running against, guess who?
North Korea.
North Korea. No, nobody.
Japan.
Nobody else is running.
Really?
Nobody else has got their hat in the ring for the 2034 Olympics, which is crazy because it's not that far into the future.
Yeah, I mean, you think
There's
about it,
still
like 2034
time,
is a
though.
long time away, but it's
Yeah.
only
Like
two-
more than
two-
10 years.
4, 6, 8.
So we were
every 4
competing
years,
for the
carry the one.
2002 Olympics since we were awarded the Olympics 1994 for 2002.
Oh,
Before 94, there were years of competing with multiple other potential hosts.
Mhm. Okay.
So the fact that we're like 12 years away right now and there's nobody else that's even got their hat in the ring is basically we're going to get it.
11
Like,
years.
If no one changes.
11 years.
So what this says is the International Olympic Committee hasn't made any promises about Salt Lake City getting the 2034 Olympic Games, despite it being the only city in the race. It's like, come on. It's like, go out on the track and run as fast as you can. Whoever crosses the finish line first wins. We're not going to say who's going to win, but whoever wins.
And you'll
Win.
also come in last place.
first and last.
So get this, though. This is kind of the neat thing is that, so this is a quote from Spencer Cox, who's our governor. So there's no question that the process has been complicated, but the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee's decision this weekend to pursue a dual award for the 2030 and 2034 games, because nobody's assigned to 2030 yet either.
Wow.
Well,
Really?
why aren't people signing up? Like, why aren't
Did people stop
or countries,
caring
I
about the
guess?
Olympics?
Yeah.
Who?
During COVID?
Brazil? We're going to have downhill like slalom in Brazil?
for winter?
All the winter countries, I think, are either in war or or climate
What
change.
about like
I don't know.
Switzerland
But-
or Austria or something?
Yeah.
South
know.
Korea's done Winter Olympics
Yeah.
once or twice.
And like there's ski resorts in like Dubai and they manufacture snow
That's true.
Mhm.
and you can go skiing in Dubai.
Oh,
They
wow.
hold up an ice machine behind a fan. and
I do the Olympics there,
Yeah, Dubai. Me
but
too.
clearly they have not submitted their name for.
I don't know why someone
Shame.
wouldn't want it. I mean, in
Yeah.
Utah here, we have this idea that it's all good, like the commerce that comes, the money that comes in. But I don't know. There's got to be some downfall, right?
Yeah, if it was all good, then you would think there would be a lot more people with their hat in the
It just
ring.
may be difficult to host that many people. Like
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
back in 2002, my dad was the general manager of UTA,
Mm-hmm.
Utah Transit Authority
Mhm.
in Utah County, but he was called upon to help with a lot of the public transport issues happening in Salt Lake County because of the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
And he had to work a lot of long nights. And so I don't know the specific problems associated with the
Well,
transit, but it
I mean,
clogged it up hard.
You're moving.
Yeah.
I'm sure the cities grows by hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, not just you got spectators, you've got Olympians, for every Olympian, there's probably a team of 10 people behind them, like
Mhm.
logistics, doctors, whatever, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
if not
I don't
more.
know all that, but it's not just,
Stopwatch clickers,
yeah,
those
So-
people.
backup
those.
stopwatch clickers.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So it's a strain. Could be a strain on
Stopwatch.
the
Oh,
infrastructure.
Stopwatch clicker supplier provider
Yes.
guys.
The
at
battery
least 3 of
changer
them. Yeah,
guy.
the battery. Yeah.
the battery supplier guy
Mhm.
for the stopwatch clicker
Yeah.
backup.
Because that's all done
Lots of those.
manually. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all done.
The reset pusher button
People-
guy with the pen that can reset it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's
The pin. You need a little pin needle thing to
Uh-huh.
reset the.
Exactly.
Maybe never mind. My joke won't work. Just move on.
But so logistically, it's probably a nightmare for a lot of people. But we've done it, and it was a success in Utah. So
Uh-huh.
and we have the infrastructure. It was a great Olympics
Yeah.
in 2002.
Yeah.
We've got great snow. I mean, we're definitely a great candidate for it, but being the only ones kind of surprised me.
I mean, where was the last one? Was it Russia? I have a feeling we're not going there. Just generally
Just a
speaking,
little. Yeah.
Interesting. Weird.
just an idea. But yeah, there's lots of other countries that could do it, but they're not. So as of now, and obviously there's a lot of things that need to happen, there is potential for us to get the Olympics twice in 30 and 34.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Hmm.
That would be cool though,
Yeah.
because we need more people to move in from out of state and really F
Yeah,
up the
definitely.
whole.
More California.
And more pedestrian incidents. So
We need more people.
Yeah.
More people walking the
Yeah,
crosswalks.
more walking targets.
and jaywalking.
Yeah.
4 people a day.
Walking targets.
4 people a day.
So it's funny. The last line of this article actually says the governor said that they wouldn't have happened if Switzerland-based IOC, so International Olympic Committee, wasn't quote unquote very interested in holding the 2034 Winter Games. So they're saying they're just not interested.
That's so weird.
Is
Are
it
they like
interesting?
phasing
that
out
is
Olympics?
really weird.
They're just like don't care anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we need to get into like some sort of galactic thing where we just do one like downhill skiing team. We'll send them off to like, whatever planet.
The moon.
The moon.
Summer Olympics on
Of course.
Mars.
Yeah, exactly.
Wearing Prada, right? They're wearing Prada
Oh, yeah.
from last time. Yeah.
Then we can just like simplify it, Anyway. Okay, Jake, I don't know what this story is that you snuck in here. It just says skeletons need entertainment too.
It's true.
So in Grantsville, there's a city in Utah. The city orders a risque Halloween display to be taken down.
Oh, I saw this.
Rotten
There
Rose.
was somebody put outside their house.
Can I guess?
Yes, please.
Fornicating skeletons.
Fornicating skeletons.
Is that
Anyone
really
else?
what it is?
Well,
Oh.
No,
pretty close.
it's not. Anyone else?
Amber,
you know
I
it.
know it, so I'm
I
not going to
saw
say it.
You saw it.
Oh,
but
so you
that's a
saw
good
it too.
guess, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It
Okay.
is sexual in nature.
Oh, okay.
There's
Lots of bones.
a house. There are a lot of
Oh,
bones.
sorry, that was
yes.
so loud, right?
Hundreds of them.
Yeah.
How many bones in the human
Yeah.
body? Times 5.
Can I tell you a skeleton joke?
Yes.
Okay.
please.
Skeleton walks into a bar and says, "I'll have a beer and a mop." That's the end of the
I
joke.
got it. I got it. A ghost would do
Amber,
the
what would
same.
happen
Yeah,
Okay.
they would.
if a skeleton drank a
You're very
beer?
aggressive towards me right now.
You should have said a skeleton without a
A
stomach.
skeleton. What? A beer
It would
and a mop.
drink the
Yes,
beer,
just-
it would fall
Oh yeah.
skeleton
Okay.
is
And a mop.
sufficient.
Okay, you're
And they'd
right.
mop it up.
Gosh, dang it. Okay,
s-
Jeff.
Okay, let me say
Maybe
it.
Phil should come back.
I'm going to say it in terms you know.
Oh,
Skeleton walks into a bar, says, "I'll have a water and a ShamWow."
got it. You should have said that in the first place.
All right, sorry, Jake. What were these terrible
So there's a
skeletons?
there's a stop sign on the corner of a lot, this property, and this person decided that they would decorate the stop sign section of their yard with 4 skeletons sitting on chairs around the stop sign pole, and on the pole is
Another skeleton.
a skeleton hanging
Dancing.
upside down. Yes,
Yes.
pole dancing skeleton.
There were
dancing
dollar
skeleton.
bills in the skeleton's hands as well.
Yes,
Making it rain.
That were sitting on the
Yeah.
lawn chairs.
they were entertained. You could tell that they were
Satisfied.
Well, yeah,
Well,
We're happy
entertained.
with the performance.
They were,
Okay, that's
they
a
were
better word
They
for
were
it.
pleased with what they were seeing, and the city has ordered this homeowner to take the decoration down.
But we can't agree that girls can be too skinny, right? Like that's
There's clearly an eating
There's-
disorder happening here.
Well, we
yeah,
don't-
it's not
well,
something to be
I
celebrated.
don't think that the skeleton on the pole. I don't think that they had a forensic investigation on it. I don't know if it was a female skeleton or not.
that's true. I was being a little sexist. I'm sorry.
You
I'm sure they
definitely
could
were.
check the pelvic bone
It's
to see if
2023.
it was,
Whatever it
but
was.
Well, did you see they moved it so that it was back onto their property
Oh, so they just
so it
moved
wasn't
the
on
and
the
scene.
added
city-
lights?
on the-
Yes.
That is actually really funny.
I know.
I think that's
I think
hilarious.
so too.
yeah.
Well, I'm just going to go right into nationwide news because it dovetails very well with this one. I titled it "Lowe's Halloween Decorations Are Next Level in North Carolina." Did you guys hear about this one?
No.
Okay.
No.
North Carolina groundskeeper mows around a dead body after mistaking it for a prop. It's not funny, Jake.
That's horrible.
It is not funny, but
I'm
I'm
not
laughing
laughing.
anyway.
Amber, it is not funny
I'm no emotions. You
Save
told
your
me
laughs
already
till-
there's no emotions in this pocket.
till the funny parts. A guy was taking care of a piece of lawn and mowed around a dead body thinking it was a decoration.
Oh my gosh.
And that body sat there for 2 days
Oh,
until someone else
What?
reported it. And I don't know how. Like those are some awesome decorations. Is all I'm saying.
Were there other decorations on their yard?
No,
Or
just
was
that
it
one.
Just a body.
Okay, that's a
Like
little-
not a pretend murder scene.
Not a styrofoam headstone.
Not a skeleton that goes like
Just
this out
the
of
body.
Not a
you
strobe
see-
light.
You see houses all around that just go all out, and that would be a prime spot to
Yeah.
hide a body.
Yes.
Right.
If you're into that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
You don't need to go into the
But
mountains.
why would you go to a random house with nothing in front of it?
I'm gonna embellish a little bit more that might ruin
Yeah,
some of your
please tell
visuals.
us
It wasn't
about it.
like a track home situation where they had an HOA and there was a dead body in front. Okay, so the body of Paul Owens, who is 34, was found in October 10th in an abandoned log cabin that was used by law enforcement agencies for training. So
okay.
it was actually like in the woods, but
So-
it was like a government property that they used for. It's like a training facility.
Mhm.
But someone went to go take care of it. They didn't actually think it was a Halloween decoration, but in this training facility, they used a lot of dummies
Prop.
and props, right?
Mm.
So he figured someone left it out there for like a Halloween thing. It's like, oh, there's a dummy out there. So it wasn't like it was, on Truman Street from the Truman Show. But it was like, kind of out in the woods.
Wasn't
But-
Wow.
outside the Brady Bunch's house.
What was he? Does it say anything about what he would be doing there, or what he actually
Yeah,
died
he was doing
from?
this.
Like, was it a
Great for the
murder or
listeners.
was it a groundskeeper that had just fallen?
You know what's
Yeah.
cheaper than a prop?
A real dead body.
A dead body.
Oh my gosh!
You can't even buy those.
Possibly.
They're,
No.
they're actually
Oh,
priceless.
I can't.
Sorry, what's his name?
Yeah.
What?
Robert. His name's Robert. His name
Rest
is
in
Tell
Robert.
us about Robert.
Robert.
Oh, I don't know. He liked, let's see here, favorite flower, daffodils. He liked
He went by
cherry
Bob.
cobbler over
Bob.
peach cobbler.
This poor guy.
So
Did you like both peach and cherry mixed together? Because that's actually pretty good sometimes.
Just peach.
anyway, I don't know how he died. In fact, they didn't really get into how he died, but
That's just so bizarre.
it's just the story. So
It
took
is.
so the guy mowed the lawn around it, and then a construction worker saw the body and reported it the next day. So it was out there for a little while.
Oh man.
The
What was
the family suspects foul play, but I think there's an investigation ongoing or something like that. I don't know.
Interesting.
What was the headline again? Didn't it say something about Lowe's?
I made that.
That
up.
was
Oh.
Jeff's
That was-
self. He
Come
was-
on.
his-
But I will
I was like,
repeat it.
what does
Clever.
Lowe's have to do with this?
I said Lowe's Halloween decorations are next level in North
They're now
Carolina.
selling cadavers.
I said Lowe's because I wanted to throw you off. But
I was thrown off.
the actual title was North Carolina groundskeeper mows around dead body after mistaking it for a prop.
Yeah, that's boring. Boring headline.
You did make it
Yours is
spicier, though,
much
Jeff.
better,
Thank
Jeff.
you.
We need to rope a huge corporation into it, like Lowe's.
We do.
Anyway, so I'm just saying, like, if you think something's creepy going on, just double check. Like in your neighbor's lawn.
Poke it
you know?
with a stick. If
Poke it with a
seems-
Oh my gosh.
That's been my
Give it an
lifelong
odor
motto.
test.
Do you still have that shirt, Jake, that says "Poke it with a stick"?
No, I wish I did though.
Okay.
Wow.
I wish I had a shirt that said that.
Happy Halloween. Poke it with a stick. So that's my nationwide news, and it's only nationwide because it doesn't happen in Utah,
Right.
right?
Mhm. It's in
news
somewhere else in the
nationwide.
nation.
Yes.
People in
outside our
Utah
borders.
poke with the stick.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
to double check.
Yeah, definitely.
All Utahns.
It's gonna be the name of this episode. Poke it
Poke
with
it
a stick,
Poke it with the stick.
featuring Matt Johnson.
Speaking of Matt Johnson, hey Matt.
Hi.
So I'm going to skip world news because I have a feeling we're going to talk a little bit about that coming up in the main topic here.
Potentially.
And we've somehow entered in galactic news, like to all of our
the
stuff.
last few episodes we've
I'm
had.
skipping that one too,
Okay. All right.
That's fair.
though. But so, like I said, Matt Johnson, you've got your degree in Middle Eastern Studies, which is, in my opinion, because I'm just a regular person, probably takes a degree to kind of start to understand what the hell's going on over there. Because to me, I'm like, very confusing.
Hmm.
But I wanted you to educate us on some of the information that you have in that noggin and tell us, like, what the hell's going on over there? At least some information.
So what have you guys heard so far? I've kind of delved into all of it, but what have you heard either in passing or looked into intentionally? What's your take on it so far?
it's interesting. So what I've heard so far is obviously there was an attack, and I don't even know if that's the right word for it, but or a terrorist attack or like a purposeful destruction of Jews. So that was kind of what was reported on that initial day. And there's a group called Hamas, which I don't really fully understand who that is, other than like my best understanding is it's like a sect or a group within the groups kind of thing. It's like, I don't know, there's a certain group like a militant or whatever, but they basically just bashed in over to the Israel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just started going ape shit on people. I mean, that's a really rude way of saying it, but it seemed like a very victim situation where people were being attacked and killed. And just to summarize it, because it's not hard to summarize my simple understanding of this, I'm hearing some various like empathetic things from like the Gaza Strip of what's going on there, and that's like where Hamas is, and like maybe they had some justification for doing it, but I honestly don't really know, and that's why I'm like, it's confusing to me, and I'm sure a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's kind of hard because it's like, where do you start? Like, where do you start over the Israel? You know, like
it didn't start back 2 weeks ago. When
do you go back 3,000 years when the Jews occupied it, or do you know, like it seems like an ongoing thing. So I'm excited to hear your take on it.
It is ongoing.
Or just your information
for how I keep saying hundreds or thousands of years. Is that true? Is that accurate?
Hundreds of thousands of years?
Hundreds or thousands.
Well, thousands of years, but for different reasons and different players at play. But I think maybe for the purpose of this episode, we may go back maybe 75 years or so. Anything to add to that, Jake, though?
Well, for those of you who don't know, there's a war going on in the Middle East. So
is that what Jeff was talking about? Okay.
Yeah. Palestine's and
but there's a lot more than just what's going on right now that plays into it.
So, and a quick disclaimer, like I don't have a PhD in this. I have a bachelor's degree from BYU Provo. I got it 4 years ago. December of 2019 was when I graduated.
That's cool.
My wife and I, and at the time, 1.5-year-old son lived in Jordan, which is right next to where this is happening, for a semester, which is like 4.5 months or so.
Yeah.
And then we lived there, resided there while I was studying Arabic at a private institute there. And I got to know a lot of the Palestinian side because Jordan is made up of, I think it's like 60% Palestinian. Like a majority of the people I had talked to have Palestinian heritage. And when I say Palestinian or Palestine, that refers to, we'll call it the Holy Land or where Israel is now.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So I lived there for a while, so I have a lot of anecdotal examples of what's going on. And then we actually spent about 2.5 or so weeks going around the Holy Land as well. We went from hotel to hotel for about a week, and then we stayed in the BYU Jerusalem Center for about a week as well. And then we came home at the end of 2017. So this is a land that is very dear to my heart. These are like my people and my brothers and sisters, and I love them. So I will just say off the bat, it is not as black and white as you would initially think.
Yeah.
It is. That October 7th, the headlines on the news are screaming, Hamas attacks Israel, kibbutz, or music festival and whatever. They're firing rockets into these nearby Israeli cities and towns. You have to consider why. Does someone just wake up that morning and feel like, I feel like flying over this fence and attacking and killing people?
Yeah.
I don't think many people wake up and that's the initial thing that they think. You may have a different opinion on that.
I don't.
Who knows?
I
Jake
don't
does
think
not.
that.
I'm looking at you, Jake.
Never once.
But so Gaza is an interesting area. It's a fenced off. I think it's like 140 square miles, which if you think about it, Salt Lake City is about 120 square miles. So it's just slightly bigger than Salt Lake City.
Yeah. And it's densely populated.
And
right?
there's 10 times as many people that live in it that like Salt Lake has like two. And I'm talking about Salt Lake City, not Salt Lake County.
Right.
Right. Salt Lake County is way bigger. It's like 800 square miles.
And
So, like-
I've heard it called an open air prison. Is that
Yeah.
terrible, or is that
No, I think that's
about
accurate.
Yeah.
It's fenced in. There are checkpoints at certain areas in the border there that Israel will very strictly observe and make sure that the things coming in and coming out are investigated and the people coming in and out are very thoroughly
monitored
searched.
and checked.
'Cause-
Yeah.
yeah. So that's Pakistan territory, but Israel like guards
Palestinian territory.
or what did I say?
You
Yeah.
said Pakistan.
Oh, yep.
That's
That's-
different.
Sorry. It starts with a P.
It's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay. It starts with a
Palestine.
P.
Yes.
And
You passed.
follows
Good job.
an A.
You
So
found it.
Thanks. Yeah.
you.
It was a test.
I do know what I'm talking about, kind of.
Gold star.
Gaza is the name, or the Gaza Strip. So it's tiny. You have about 2 million people living there. About 50% of the population is children, people under the age of 18.
What?
Yeah.
50%?
Yeah. Around 50%, plus or minus a few percent.
No wonder the place is so crazy.
I
Did they have sugar? What's
I
their
don't know.
bedtime?
I don't know why there's so many kids there. The things, supplies, and aid that comes in there is highly regulated. So food, about 95% of the water is not drinkable. Their electricity will be out for about 8 hours a day. You're not allowed to leave. People aren't allowed to come in. For example, I had, and this happened, I think in 2007, is when Israel created the fence, and it's literally to keep them confined so they can't get out. And I had a taxi driver in Jordan who was Palestinian, and he said that in 2007, when everyone was forced into this 120 square mile zone called the Gaza Strip, that's where he was from, and he was out of town when this happened. And he left his wife and 2 or 3 children there at the time. The whole thing went down. People in Gaza were not allowed to leave. People weren't allowed to come back in as well. And he was stuck in Jordan. He's like,
Wow.
I literally can't go see my family. I haven't seen them for 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
Now
Wow.
15 years.
Oh,
And so it's really sad. He drives a taxi all day long.
yeah.
He sends money to them every month when he can.
Wow.
What else? Medical supplies, food, water, building supplies are highly regulated, and you can't get building supplies. So when Israel bombs a home in Gaza, they can't rebuild it.
Mm.
They can kind of clean it up and tidy it up a bit, but they can't like build a new house.
Right.
So, and Israel's been bombing it periodically for a long time, as far as reactions to things that people in Gaza do to Israel. But you're treated as a second-class citizen if you're a Palestinian, especially in Gaza, but wherever you are in the land of Israel. If you are a Palestinian, if you're an Arab, you are treated like a second-class citizen.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question
Yeah, go
on the
ahead.
Gaza Strip. Who put the fence there and regulates that? That's Israel?
Israel
You said.
Mm-hmm.
And is it okay or accurate to equate Israel to Jews, or no? Is Israel run by the Jews?
Well,
or?
you have Jews, Christians, and Muslims who are Israeli, quote unquote Israeli, but vast majority Jews. They strive to have a Jewish majority.
Right.
But when I say Jews, a very small population of them are like actual like Orthodox practicing religious Jews.
Right.
1948, the political state of Israel was founded on secular principles. It wasn't founded on really religious terms.
Right. Okay. That makes a little sense. So Israel has created this border basically to contain Palestinians.
Mhm.
Is that accurate?
Mhm.
The other thing that I've been told is that when they created that, it was for that Hamas, which is what? I don't
So
understand.
Hamas is kind of like a political party, if you will.
okay. That makes
but
a little more
extremist, right? Like
a lot of them are extreme, and when I say extreme, it means they're willing to kill people
yeah.
to obtain this freedom, to obtain
their goals.
basic
Yeah.
human rights.
Do you
Right.
feel like they are a good portrayal of what most Palestinians would want?
It's probably a fair portrayal of what they want deep down. Like they all want freedom,
Yeah.
wouldn't you? Would you
And
like
freedom-
living there sucks?
Yeah, and freedom to them is equating to let's get out of this open air prison
Mhm.
and let's fight against the people that have put us in this area.
And by the way, I'm giving a lot of the Arab side because I think the vast majority of our listeners or people here in the U.S. or Utah specifically may not know
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
the
Right.
Arab side of this. Probably are pretty familiar with the Israeli and the Jewish side of this,
Right.
right? And so as I'm talking, I'm just trying to kind of level the playing field here, even out the perspective a little bit. This is just my experience, right? And the things that
Yeah.
I've seen. But where was I going with that?
Well, just to clarify while you're thinking that, I think this is probably true for all of us. I think that any killing, any destruction, anything is bad. I don't support either side fighting. I actually don't like that at all. I also know that it takes two to tango.
Mhm.
And it's not just a one-sided, like a 100% victim versus a 100% evil.
Mhm.
That it's never like that, whether you're beating up your little brother or two nations fighting. You know what I mean?
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I in zero way condone the killing of innocent people. I think it's awful. It's wrong. You
Yep.
should not do it. While saying that, though, I can understand why certain people may feel like that is their only option
Mhm.
to maybe get attention,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
get the attention of the world. Like, hey,
Mhm.
this is our plight that's going on here. No one really knows about it, but here I'm going to show you. And there are two, like what you said, Jeff. It takes two to tango. There are two sides of this, and I'd say 95% of the people on my Facebook feed will say I stand with Israel and put an Israeli flag there. I don't feel like I can do that. I also would never post, I don't think, on my social, like I stand with only Palestine and put a
Yeah,
Palestinian
because it
flag.
goes so deep and there's so
I
many
stand
different.
with humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it sucks what's happening. And then you see pictures or video footage of what's going on in Israel and the innocent Israeli lives that are taken, which, yes, it's awful. It's horrible. But when you see a video of a man holding in his arms his mangled 10-year-old daughter in Gaza
Mhm.
from a bomb from Israel, it also it puts a human face to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it makes these past 2 weeks, there's been 2 or 3 nights where I can't sleep
Mm.
Yeah.
because I see this video footage that you probably don't see because it's all in Arabic,
Oh yeah.
and you probably are, your friends in the region are on Facebook or Instagram are pretty limited. I'm assuming. I have a lot. Maybe you do. I don't know.
No, I dare say zero.
And, okay. And so we just don't see this stuff, and
Yeah.
it's not pushed out. I don't know if we should blame the algorithm or not. I don't know, but it's awful.
Yeah.
I don't think that the retaliation from Israel is proportional. I think the death toll in Israel right now is like 1,200. Awful. It's over 4,000 in Gaza.
Mm.
Most of it's defenseless civilians.
Yeah.
A lot of it children and
Yeah.
women.
So playing to in an effort to better understand. So with that, some of the things that I've heard
Mhm.
is that the tactics and the what Hamas or the Palestinians are doing promotes further death to make the other side look bad. I have no idea how true this is, but items like, oh, they set up their military operation inside of a hospital on purpose so that if they try to destroy the military operation, they're also destroying the hospital, and then the Palestinians promote the fact that Israel is destroying a hospital.
Which is awful. And yeah, Israel ends up destroying it and killing a lot of people. And I would think that they do it maybe for 2 reasons: is to make Israel look bad, which it does. Well,
Mhm.
from what I see. But also in the hopes that they won't attack the hospital, perhaps.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, using civilians as human shields is awful.
It's actually a war crime. You can't
yeah.
do that.
No.
And
Yeah.
another thing I've heard, and again, this is just stuff I've heard that is probably being pushed more to sway us one way or another, is that for many, many days, they're telling the citizens, get out of, I think, the north end of Gaza Strip.
Flee from the north to the south.
Go south. And then the Hamas or people in charge are like, nope, stay here. Just ignore that.
And people have been fleeing to the south. Israel's saying, go to the Egyptian border. And this is creating a humanitarian crisis because Egypt's like, okay, we're just going to take on 2 million refugees.
Right.
Well, they closed the border, right?
Yeah. And so, and also you probably haven't seen this, as Israel is saying, get out. They're continuing to bomb these buildings and killing people, but they're also bombing cars and these roads, like the main roads to go down south, which creates a huge roadblock. So you can't actually even get out. Which is and yes, Hamas has committed war crimes unequivocally.
Well, so
that's
has
awful,
Israel,
and so
too.
has Israel, and both have committed atrocities. But saying that I have empathy for the Palestinians does not make me pro Hamas.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Right? Okay, so
I'm not claiming that at all. The reason I'm asking these kind of difficult questions is because I really do think you have another insight that I don't have, and so I'm getting fed information, and it blows my mind. I'm how much what we are given in the news is frankly not even just news; it's propaganda. It is pushed in a way
I can see that
certain people want you to think in a certain way.
It's divisive as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Oftentimes, only tells one side of the
divisive.
story.
And what really cued me off to this is I'm like, okay, there's somebody reporting how terrible all these gatherings are. There's like some in Australia that are like pro Palestinian. There's some in like Texas. There's some in
DC.
like I think
There's one
DC.
in Capitol building. Yeah.
And I'm like, this is weird. Like, there's got to be something to
Obviously,
it.
there's something else to this.
There's something there. Whether it's right or not, I'm not even going to get into that. It's just there's got to be some other side to this story. And that's why I'm pushing you to kind of maybe pull some of that story
and
out.
that is the opposite. The people there feel oppressed, and they just want out. They want basic human rights. That's all they want.
Right.
And they haven't been getting that for 75 years.
What happened 75 years ago?
The state of Israel became right.
Was formed.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
1948.
the Palestinians, they didn't recognize that, right? When it happened, that's part
None of the Arab countries did.
Yeah.
But most of the European world did. And so, again, this is two-sided. The Jews have been persecuted for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Right. And in more modern, even before, and we don't need to go back several thousand years ago, but even before the Holocaust, you have Jews living all throughout Europe, in Poland and in Russia and Bulgaria, everywhere. And there's, and I think the main reason, the stem of anti-Semitism is, the Jews killed Jesus, right? And armed Christians do not like that. And maybe that's a discussion for another time. But the Jews were involved in these things called pogroms, which is where Christians would come in, or just people would come and basically flatten a Jewish settlement or town or city and kill people, kill Jews, light their houses on fire and force them to get out. And then obviously the Holocaust happens, which however many millions of Jews were killed during then.
Yeah.
A lot of the world had sympathy for them, and who wouldn't, right? It's awful. It's horrific what has happened to them for years and hundreds and thousands of years. And now I will say in the 1800s, Jews had been coming to the Holy Land for religious purposes long before 1948, when the official state of Israel was formed.
Yeah.
But
was that the Zionistic movement?
the Zionism movement,
Zionism,
Zionism, has been going on for a long time,
Yeah.
even before 1948. But the hang on, where did my train of thought go? You may need to derail.
I am so sorry.
My
I
thought
do
of
that.
trains.
Yeah. Okay, so the Jews have been wanting to come to the Holy Land.
So the world kind of had sympathy, especially after World War II. The United States, the United Nations, other major powers in Europe were like, where do we put these people? Like, we need to put these persecuted people somewhere.
Yeah.
They were looking at spots in South America. We're looking at spots here in the United States. They were looking at spots in Africa, like Uganda. And then they thought, why don't we just put them in Palestine? There's promises made to the Jews in the Bible, in Holy Scripture, that promise them a land. And again, that can be a discussion for another time as well. And
this was before it became the state of Israel?
Yeah. Okay, so the land of their forefathers, right? And it seemed like a good place to put them. And maybe it was. I don't know. I wasn't involved in those decisions, right? I was not alive. and so, but finally, it just kind of was a snowball effect. And finally, in 1948, they sort of declared their independence as an independent political state, the government, everything. And when that happened, the Israelis forcefully displaced 750,000 Palestinians that were peacefully living in their homes and forced them out. And those 750,000 Palestinian Arabs fled south, fled to Gaza, fled to Jordan, they fled to Lebanon. And just the surrounding, they fled to Egypt, as refugees. It was literally, they had no place to go. And the Israeli government kept telling them, you'll be able to return soon. You'll be able to come back. Just don't worry. You'll be fine. Years and years and years of this goes by, and just more and more Jews come in, right? Because the Jews needed a place to gather and to be together, which I get that. They needed a place. But more and more kept coming in, thus diminishing the promise of return for the Palestinian Arabs that were forcefully pushed out of their house. And when I say forcefully, I do mean like
literally
at
forcefully.
Gunpoint. Homes were bulldozed, or to put in nicer, like sometimes they would just turn off their utilities and say, get out, or else we'll kind of siege their homes one by one to make room for these Jews who were coming in after World War II, after the Holocaust, to come in and live in these homes. So this has been going on now for 75 years. And even to this day, as the population of Israel grows, Israel will continue to encroach upon Palestinian and Arab lands and build illegal settlements on the lands, thus even displacing the Palestinians even more and more and more and more. And it's just like this endless routine of treating the Palestinians like they aren't a people.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating for them. And this is why, and by the way, so many promises have been made to the Arabs by Israel, by the United States, by the United Nations, that, we're going to come to some sort of conclusion, some sort of settlement where both sides will get equal parts of land. And it just hasn't happened. Nothing equitable has happened yet. And so, in fact, like the basic tenets of Islam in general is peace and love, believe it or not. And Jews and Christians are referred to in the Quran, their scriptures, as Ahl al-Kitab, which is like the people of the book. Like, these are our brothers and sisters. We're all sons and daughters of Abraham, the ultimate patriarch, right? And so let's all get along. So this conflict that's happening right now, I would argue, is not religious at all. It's just, I think, based on human rights.
Yeah.
But the cause for unrest was the Jews just kept coming, and they wouldn't stop. And they wouldn't stop displacing the people who are already there, right?
Yeah.
And what's the big deal about this land? It's like basically the Holy Land for multiple groups. Is that right?
Yeah, if you go to Jerusalem, there's very holy sites for all three Abrahamic religions.
What is, do you know, what is for the Muslims, what is the sacred spots there? for them.
There's two major ones. They're pretty close to each other, actually. There's what's called the Dome of the Rock.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mosque there that's on top of the retaining wall of the original Jewish temple that was there.
Mm-hmm.
So you've heard of the Western Wailing Wall.
Mhm.
I'm sure that's like the most holy site for Jews, and they still go. It's it's not the temple itself, but it's the retaining wall of the original temple that was destroyed 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
But sitting up above there is the Dome of the Rock, and in the middle of the Dome of the Rock, there's a rock there where the Muslims believe that this is the spot where Abraham was to sacrifice his son. You've read that account in the book of Genesis in the Bible. And then just maybe like 150 yards to the, I don't know what direction it is, the south.
To that direction over there.
To some direction yonder. And it's within eyesight is what's called the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And that is a place where Muslims believe that Muhammad had a vision of seeing God.
Mm-hmm.
And was taken on called a night journey, which is where he God showed him the world and the inhabitants of the world, and kind of what his plan was for Islam, and it was a very important, kind of like other scriptural accounts of prophets conversing or seeing God, like the burning bush, the sacred grove, or the burning bush for Moses, or any number of things. So it's a very sacred place for them,
right?
And let's see, for Christians, obviously the birthplace of Jesus was in Bethlehem, just to the south there, but a lot of like the Garden of Gethsemane, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is where they believe that Jesus was crucified, the tomb where he was buried, things like this. So very important. But again, like even even in Jerusalem, there are lots of Jews, Christians, and Muslims who get along just great. It's a majority, I would say, in East Jerusalem, like the old city. There's a lot, like the street vendors. Most of them are Palestinian. There are Arabs or Muslims.
When I was looking up just 3 different religions, like the Christianity and Judaism, and it was interesting to me how many similarities there are actually across the 3 religions. So that was interesting.
Yeah. So kind of regarded as our brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, again, this,
sometimes you fight the hardest with your brothers and sisters, though. You know, what
I agree.
I get along with
like
most
my
people.
brother Michael. We get along so well.
Mike's so great.
Careful.
We truly do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that doesn't mean the brothers and sisters don't fight.
Yeah. I mean, for the longest time, it gets so confusing to me that I'm just like, you know what? Just let them have it out. You just stay out of it.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing I can do about it.
It's hard to see terrible things going on in the world and not fully understand why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And recognizing there's really nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Yeah.
But because innocent people are dying, it's just terrible. Like all you can really do is just mourn.
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it's gone on this long. That there's there are too many people that are bent on tradition, and they want it a certain way, and other people don't, and so there's just conflict.
Yeah, and you can't please everyone, and everyone wants more than what the other side wants, and it's impossible.
Yeah,
I don't know how to solve it. I bet Jeff does.
That's
why
I bet Jeff knows.
Nice,
That's why we had you on. We hope that we could call up
You're
the
really letting us down right now.
Netanyahu and say, "Look, here's what we need to do." Matt said, "That's it."
I have his direct line.
I'm sure you do.
This is actually real. Like, okay, so this is totally ignorant, probably. And here it goes. Ready?
Let's hear it.
So I know like some Mormon church history, and they would get persecuted in various places, and they literally just move. So they had a very significant spot, let's say in New York or whatever, for the religion was a very significant and prominent place, but they actually just kept moving places. It's like they didn't put too much emphasis on that place, right? And I wouldn't wonder if, but the thing that shocks me is why is there a specific part of this land, of this planet, that is so significant that generations and generations of people need to fight over it?
Yeah.
Like, and no offense, doesn't seem like that great of a place. It's like there's no waterfront. There's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's amazing and religiously, but I look at many pictures of it, I'm like, this is pretty desolate. Like, it's not like this fruitful forest.
It's not an oasis of tropical paradise.
I remember standing on, when we were in Jordan, you drive over to a place called Mount Nebo, which is has historical significance with the prophet Moses,
which is not in Utah.
Finding Nebo,
not the one in the Middle East.
Nebo.
Finding Nebo. I found it, and standing there, and you can look into the land of Israel, and you can actually see Jerusalem off in the distance. And I just remember standing there and thinking, "This is the promised land."
Yeah, it was
right.
And
well, it's in like geographically, like it's kind of been that an arid place this whole time. Not much water. I mean, there's things that grow there, and they grow their own stuff, and they do have water, but not a ton of it.
Well, it's like Egypt. Egypt is very desolate, and but once upon a time, my understanding was it was very fruitful, and it had lots of water, and they had it was a different climate there.
Yeah, I'm just like, why can't we be fighting over the Bahamas?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You go to like the Amazon and no one wants it.
Yeah, and they do think like when the Saints came to Salt Lake City and first settled here, like it was pretty desolate as well, and they had to work the land and deal with the people, the Indians who are already here as well. I mean, and that's a different discussion for another time as well. And the things that we did to the people here, and the things that the first settlers of the America, the new land, the new world, that's what it's called, did to the people already here. It's kind of similar to what's happening with Israel and Palestine. You could relate it to that. It doesn't resonate with me as well because it was hundreds of years ago. This is happening now.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
But I think the historical and religious significance has a big play into why people are so obsessed with this land. But for the most part right now, like for the Palestinians, just like, this is just our home. Like, this is where we're from.
Yeah, I solved it. I knew you guys thought I would solve it.
I knew it.
Here it goes.
I knew you would.
So in America, we have New York. It's not Old York, it's New York.
Mm-hmm.
We have New Mexico. It's the New Mexico, not the Old Mexico. We have New Jersey. It's not the old Jersey, it's the new one. Okay.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Jake,
not
thank
the old
you
Hampshire.
so much, Jake.
Yeah.
Do you have some more? Because I think we should do this for 3 or 4
New
minutes.
Haven, Connecticut.
New Haven, Connecticut. It's not the old Haven.
The upgraded versions of the older ones.
Thank you.
Yeah.
New Israel. I'm just saying.
Where is it? Where is it?
Where?
It doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter.
Just
look at
just
New
call
York.
someplace New Israel.
New York is not
We'll
anywhere
go there.
near Old York. Where is York even a place?
Yorkshire, Yorktown.
Look at Haven.
Pennsylvania.
Sure it is.
Look how far Haven is from New Haven. You know what I mean?
No. This is
What
a
about New
terrible
Mexico
idea.
though?
I'm not on
It's
this
pretty
train.
close to Mexico,
New
to Old
Mexico's
Mexico.
really close to
It's
Old
like right
Mexico.
there.
But
there is a
what I'm
Paris in
saying-
Idaho. Maybe we can call somewhere else Israel and people will just go there.
That's right. There's also a Moscow in Idaho, but we won't talk about that right now. But I don't know. I'm thinking either tundra, just something totally different, still kind of desolate, but like lots really cold.
Okay. You're not
Or-
referring to the truck. To the
No,
Toyota
not
truck.
Toyota
Okay.
Tundra. I do like those though.
Not the new
No, I'm
tundra.
thinking like,
New tundra, the old tundra.
or let's go tropic. You know,
Yeah.
let's get some islands. Anyway, that's
Well,
my idea.
And this was the thing too that I will say, like literally they were debating this 80 years ago. Where do we put the Jews?
Oh,
Uganda, was Brazil, somewhere in South America.
Oh, yeah, actually.
United States, somewhere else in Europe. But they have historical ties to Israel, to
Yeah.
Palestine, to that land. Let's just put them there.
yeah, I joke, but it's
Because it's such a
tough
large
thing.
area.
I mean, apparently the second most populated Jewish community is in New York. That's what my understanding is. I could be
I
wrong.
think
Yeah.
there is a significant Jewish population there in somewhere in New York. I don't
Yeah.
know where
They
exactly.
make great
I've never been to
bagels.
New York.
Great bagels.
Oh gosh.
Well,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. But well, the reason I knew that is because when all this stuff was going down, I think New York kind of went on higher alert just because they were like, we don't want anything to happen here, and it was like the next heavily populated Jewish communities there. So lots of centers. Anyway, it's a crazy thing, and I do kid way too much. But in all seriousness, this is a topic that sucks. I mean, nobody likes.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Just like we've said, we just don't. The death, no matter what side, what's going on, none of it is cool. I don't like any of it. I feel the same way about Russia and Ukraine. Like, I feel bad for both sides. I actually don't want anyone to die. I don't want any Russian mother to send their child down and have them die. I don't want Ukraine to have the same thing happen.
Yeah.
So that's my story. No more death.
And you're sticking
Good
to
story.
Yeah.
What's your story, Amber?
Oh gosh.
Are you anti-death as well?
I am anti-death.
Are you pro-death or
pro-death?
anti-death?
Actually,
Okay.
I'm gonna devil's advocate here. I am pro-death.
Death or cake?
Do explain.
Expound. No, I'm not in favor of people killing each other. Let's all just get along.
Yeah.
I also do not like when people
Okay,
die.
good job, Jake. We were worried.
That is the right answer.
In the mouth of 4 witnesses, it shall be established.
Ugh.
No death.
Well, I definitely, it's interesting to hear you talk about, we'll call it the other side, because it is kind of lesser talked about right now. Wouldn't you guys say? Like,
I just think, agreed.
And I definitely,
I've got something to say. Yes.
Yes, I know. My brain goes off on tangents,
I
and then I'm
concur.
like, you just shouldn't say that.
the problem is I don't know how to end something when it's such a serious discussion. Like, and the problem is that we tease about solving America here and solving problems, but this is a problem that is not easily solved, period. And I don't think anyone's really been able to figure it out.
No.
Because, and I don't know if there's a right answer. Is there a right answer?
Well, I don't know what it is. Well, because like I said, they've been trying to resolve this peacefully for a long, long time, and no one's listening. And so some people like Hamas, some people in Hamas are resorting to violence, and that's not going to work either.
Yeah.
But I guess
it won't. Yeah, it won't solve anything.
No.
It'll kill people, but then there's retaliation, and then you're going to lose some innocent lives in your families. So I think we should just.
How about this? Just don't create your own enemy from the get-go.
Valid.
Start with peace.
Yes.
But we can't. We don't have a time machine, though.
Dang it.
Yeah, I think as soon as you choose a side, it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
When you're like in the United States, if I was to say I'm all for Israel, then automatically when I see something that's about this whole thing, I'm gonna choose my side. I think we should take everything for a grain of salt and say, okay, let's try to look at both sides here and at least have a little bit of empathy. And I think empathy will get us far.
Yeah.
And if you want more information on this, by the way, there's a really great book called The Lemon Tree by an author named Sandy Tolan. And the book is about two families, an Israeli family and a Palestinian family. And the reason why it's called a lemon tree is there's a house. I can't remember what city it's in. There's a house there with a lemon tree that is in front of it that bears the lemon fruit, and it's still there today. And what's significant about this house is that a Palestinian family once occupied it, and they were driven out. And then an a Jewish family came in and then resided there. And these two families, specifically two individuals, find each other later, and they become friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then they tell each other about their hardships in life and their country's past hardships. And it goes very in depth on both sides, and it's non-biased either. It's very objective, very factual, just kind of gives you both sides of the story very evenly It's not pro anything. It's just pro getting the information out there. But it's historical nonfiction. It's a true story. It's one of my very favorite books. So for you three and any of our listeners, go read that book, The Lemon Tree by Sandy Tolan. It will change your perspective on how you look at the current conflict.
I'm getting it.
Me too.
Do it. It's like an 8-hour listen on Audible.
Jeff's going to audibilize it.
Oh, for sure. I don't know how to read.
Don't actually read it.
Yeah.
Reading's outdated. Reading's for losers.
If this spoils the story, don't tell me, but did both sides make lemonade? I'm just saying life gave them lemons.
Don't say it. I don't want to know. Don't
Actually,
spoil
never
it.
mind. better, though.
Don't spoil it.
Never mind. Okay. Matt, thank you so much for coming on. This
Thanks for having me.
it is actually eye-opening, and I appreciate you at least getting us to look in the other direction. We're not trying to sway people one way or another, but just understanding that there's another side, and you're not even necessarily pro one thing or other. I would dare to say that all of us here agree, and I bet you this would circle around to much, much greater spheres, even outside of Utah and the United States, that I think one thing we could all get behind is killing. We just don't, it's unnecessary. Like, I know sounds funny, but I was like,
killing. We're getting behind the killing.
Wait a second, did I say that wrong? Wait,
he said the one thing we can get behind is killing.
Is killing. So I'm trying to determine if you've made a joke or not.
Wait, you guys cut me off. Is killing and the fact that it should not be done.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry.
You guys cut me off.
There's a comma there. I didn't see the comma.
Yeah,
I didn't hear it.
I'm a terrible audible person. But yes, my point was not killing. So
I can get behind that one. Yeah.
That's going to be way hard to edit, so I sound right.
Just keep it in. You
Okay, I'll just keep it in. I'll keep it in.
One thing we all love, death.
No, keep that in.
Killing, you guys cut me off. Killing ants. Am I right? Ants are bad.
Flies.
Flies.
are
I
also
can
bad.
get behind flies.
How about
Spiders?
Yellow jackets.
Yeah.
Yellow
and
jackets.
wasps.
They serve no purpose.
Yeah, if they're not bees or bumblebees, then.
All right, well, it was great to have you here. Thank you so much for coming in. Jake, it's average seeing you. Amber, you're wonderful. And
you suck.
Yeah, contact us on all the like interweb things, the X thing, the Twitter thing, the instantly graming. What?
Yep.
The instantly graming, the Book of Faces, and MySpace, right?
Yeah, all of that.
Okay, good.
All of the above.
I think Amber's now managing our AOL Instant Messenger account.
Yes, that's me.
And we're going to hire Matt.
Hit us up in a chat room.
To handle the BYU chat room. We're in a private chat called American Forked. Have a great night. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.